Tips with Tony. Tips with Tony. All about nutrition from your favorite dietitian. Everything you need to digest in your mind. Tips with Tony. Tips with Tony. Making you healthier one bite at a time. With Tony. Woo.
Hello and welcome to the Tips with Tony podcast. I'm Tony Marinucci, your registered dietitian, helping you get healthy one bite at a time. I am so excited for my very next guest. I know I said this all the time, but she's actually been on the podcast before. It's a good friend of mine, Bridgitte Carroll. She's a registered dietitian and gut health expert. When I say expert, I mean she's my go-to person whenever it's like too complicated for me to understand what's going on in this person's body. So Bridgitte is incredible what she does. She's been on here before, more so talking about like business and mindset for registered dietitians who have an online business, which she's still thriving at and still crushing. But right now she has a new supplement line that I'm so excited for you guys to hear about, all related to helping you heal your gut. So we're going to talk about all the questions you have related to gut health, because I know you have a lot of them. And I'm so excited to have an expert here to share her knowledge, her enthusiasm, and her encouragement, because we all know how gut health can be not such a pleasant conversation, and it's also not a pleasant journey. So she makes it a lot easier to understand and digestible, no pun intended, or should I say pun intended? Anyways, without further ado, Bridgitte, welcome back to the Tips with Tony podcast.
Thank you so much. I'm so excited to pour in to your listeners for the second time, and just really excited to be here to help people start healing their gut.
Yeah. So, even though you've been on here before, we have a lot of new listeners. And this time, when I ask this question, I want you to think of what you do and why you do what you do as a registered dietitian specializing in gut health. So the question is, as you know, to introduce yourself to the listeners by sharing who you are, what you do, and most importantly, why you do what you do.
Yeah. So about 12 years ago, I started my undergrad to be a registered dietitian. When I was in high school, I was so obsessed with nutrition, and I didn't even know registered dietitian was a career. I was literally going into college and was like, oh my God, you mean I can do this for a living? Like teach people about nutrition. So that really was so exciting to me. Went to school for dietetics, for nutrition, and always had gut issues. And what I was taught in undergrad, and I'm sure you can resonate, is like what to eat to a point, but it wasn't like condition specific, really. What I mean by that is like, it wasn't really helping me understand why my gut was a mess if my nutrition was on point. Mm-hmm. Right? Mm-hmm. So I went into my internship, which you and I both did, to become registered dietitians. We had to go through this more intensive program. And I found functional medicine. And I was more so thinking, how do I heal myself? Because I have the best diet. I take care of myself the best out of all of my girlfriends, yet I'm on 5 different medications and my gut is a mess. I'm always bloated and I can't poop. So I found functional medicine to heal myself, and I did a poop test, and it showed my gut was a mess. I mean, I had everything going on. And by healing my gut, I healed my thyroid issues. I lost weight with ease. I didn't feel bloated anymore. I wasn't having migraines. All of those issues that I was taking medication for resolved once I healed my gut. And so that's now why I decided 6 years ago when I started working with clients one-on-one to specialize in gut health, because there aren't many answers out there for people who are diagnosed with IBS. There really aren't any answers. And my belief is that IBS is BS. If you've been diagnosed with it,
yes.
It's like,
it's literally it's the thing that's like, we don't have a root cause, right? So we like ruled out celiac disease. We ruled out, oh my God, I'm like blanking on, I'm sure there's a bazillion gastrointestinal issues, but it's like when they can't clearly diagnose Crohn's disease, I'm like, now they're coming to me. When they can like clearly diagnose it, you just get put in this category as IBS-C, constipation, IBS-D or IBS-B, like the both of them. And it's like, it's so sad, because then if anything, actually they're told to do something like a FODMAP diet or something incredibly restrictive, which I think often makes things worse. And also their relationship with food and your stress level, which impacts, your gut health as well. So I'm like so excited to talk about this because we can go so many different ways. So if you want to comment on that, or I'll just like go straight in. I have so many questions.
I mean, I literally think like whether you've been diagnosed with IBS or if you just have gut issues or if you're just wanting to learn about gut health, like we're here for it all. You don't have to have been diagnosed for like this episode to be so killer for you.
Well, and that's the other thing too. I think that's, so those who have been diagnosed with IBS, it is really a long journey. And I strongly recommend working with somebody like Bridgitte or someone on her team because it will help you tremendously. But then even just the general person who can, I think relate a lot to what you said, that I was definitely like that. I was eating super healthy, but I was bloated all the time. And it just like didn't make any sense. Right. And then just the everyday person, I just think that they're bloated most of the time. And until they really like heal their gut, heal their relationship with food, manage their stress, like just especially like there's so many layers to it. They almost think that that's normal.
Right. 1,000%. And we're here to be like, with all of those things, you don't deserve to feel like that. You deserve to feel your best.
Yeah, definitely. So, okay. So let's backtrack a bit. What's like the recipe for disaster? Let's say, like what makes someone's gut like not well? Like when you said you did that poop test, which I love, I love what your poop can tell you. Like when you did, like, what do you think was the root cause to kind of like the unhealthy gut?
Oh, 1,000%. So, tons of antibiotics as a kid, like for the normal things, like, the amoxicillin, I used to call it like the pink juice. I would go to the doctors and ask for it because I liked the way it tasted. And so I was taking antibiotics often. And then when I got to college, the first year I was in college, I had strep like 7 times, finally got my tonsils removed. Wow. And then on top of that, on top of tons of antibiotics, stress of college, not pooping normally, which we all just push off. Like, oh, I poop like 2 to 3, maybe even 4 times a week. But then all that bad bacteria sits in your gut and it grows. So not pooping regularly, antibiotics, stress, and then alcohol. When I was in college, I don't know about you, but I was a little party animal.
Me too. Were you in a sorority?
Yes.
Me too.
Right? So like that, I hear so many women come to me and they're like, after college, I felt really off, or maybe they felt off before then, and then birth control too. So all of those is such a recipe for disaster. And if you're listening to this and you're like, wait, that was my recipe for disaster, then I'm going to urge you to look further.
Definitely. I would love to expand on how stress affects your gut.
Yeah. So, okay, we have this gut-brain connection. And there's this nerve that goes from the bottom of our brain to our gut and then to our gut to our brain. So it's like this, I explain it to, I used to work with kids a lot, as like 2 cell phones. And so they're speaking to each other. The gut is talking to the brain and the brain's talking to the gut. When the mind is stressed out, when the brain's stressed out, it sends hormones and signals to the gut. Have you ever, like, it's like hearing about, like, I have a nervous gut. Right? Like when someone's stressed, their gut changes and you might not feel it. Like you might be someone that says, well, I don't really have that. But as we are stressed, it sends signals to the gut. And over time, like long-term stress, like let's take 2020, for example. That was a long-term stress for a lot of people, the whole year of 2020. It's sending constant signals to the gut. And then over time, our good bacteria lowers in our gut, which is our protection mechanism against bad bacteria coming into our gut. So not only our good bacteria lowers, but our immune system lowers when we're stressed. And then when we have bad guys come in to the gut, that affects our brain. So bad bacteria and bad yeast that's in our gut can cause anxiety, depression, and even if you're not diagnosed with it, feelings of that.
Right.
So they're so interconnected, this gut-brain connection.
Yeah. So, I mean, God, we can go so many ways, but I think that I don't think people realize that at all. And then often I would say, like, for those who might be, and that's why I really believe that a lot of times when you heal your relationship with food, it's impacting so many things, just from like I said, like there was a point in my life where I was like literally eating quote unquote perfectly, but I was so obsessed with it. I was so bloated because I was stressing myself out to make it quote unquote perfect. That plus like high intensity interval training, like, you know, like putting your body in a calorie deficit. Like, I mean, how many people do you know are working towards this epitome of quote unquote health, going to the extremes, and it looks balanced and healthy, but the mindset behind it is so disordered that it's literally like so counterintuitive. Like, could you elaborate on that?
Yeah, I mean, the mindset is so important, whether you're working on relationship with food or gut health or both.
Yeah, it's often both, I think, is like the game changer.
I think you're totally right. Like, you know, I don't see many women with gut issues that don't have a little bit of a skewed or a bit bad relationship with food, right? Because like if our gut's a mess, it's maybe not intentional, but we are avoiding lots of foods because we just want to feel better. So if that's you, like, come into this conversation, see yourself in it, and then take action.
Yeah. So I think that's where people are probably wondering, like, what's the first thing that they can do? I know you have your gut personal line, which I'm so excited to talk about. And I definitely know that that's a component to that. But before we get into the supplement aspect of things, is there anything just like food related that someone should or shouldn't eat, or that you found like across the board is super helpful?
Yeah. So for that woman who's having the poor relationship with food and gut health, or gut health specifically?
I would say gut health specifically.
Yeah. So, I mean, trying to eat better. This is the biggest tip I can give someone who has gut health issues is eat balanced meals. Mm-hmm. And if you can, and you feel good, not snacking as much. So that's also a perfect storm to make your gut health issues worse, is like constantly eating. Mm-hmm. Because it doesn't allow the gut to rest and digest. And I was actually working with this woman who had a big history of dieting and had a lot of gut issues. And so we worked on not snacking from a very empowered way. So instead of saying, this is a rule, you can't eat between meals, it was actually like, how can you eat such a balanced, incredibly nourishing meal so that you don't need to eat for 4 hours? Mm-hmm. You know, coming at it a very empowered way. I think the energy behind food changes that we make are so important. So giving your gut about 3.5 to 4 hours between meals is the biggest thing I can see with women. And how do we do that? And I know your dietitians and your team work on this with their clients too, is like protein, fat, carbs, color. Like every meal, people get back to the basics. Exactly what you want to be doing for your gut.
Oh, I love that. The basics. It's always about the basics. So many people want to complicate things and make it so more stressful, which we already have established is going to just make things worse. So yeah, simple 3 balanced meals a day, carbs, protein, fat, color. Love that. Absolutely. So, okay. So now that's a solid foundation. And I actually often will tell people before they even go into all like the supplements or looking on, you know, if they're not having regular bowel movements, like, are you doing the basics? Are you drinking enough water? Are you eating 3 balanced meals? Are you moving your body? You know, are there things that you're, you know, doing that might actually make that tremendously better? But then on the flip side, if you're already doing those things and you're still having gut issues, what can someone do? I know you have a quiz, right? So someone can go and get a gut, like a poop test and a stool test and, you know, all of these different testing, which can be quite on the expensive side, although always worth it, especially if it's going to put an end to things. But what are the 2 different ways in which someone can assess kind of what to do next? Yeah,
that's a great question. So even when you're going into someone who's like not pooping, I want to plug something there that is so key. You said hydration, eating regular meals, eating enough vegetables. I'd say without hesitation, 100% of people who are listening, so you listening right now, you need more magnesium. So not just for people who aren't pooping, this is for literally every single person. Our food is depleted of magnesium. We're stressed, so we're using more magnesium. If there's one thing you can walk away with, that's good for your gut health, good for your brain, good for sleep, good for energy, all those things, magnesium. So in our company, Gut Personal, it's called the Miracle Worker. It's going to be great, especially help with the poops, but it won't diarrhea, you can still take it. So anyways, that's super important. It's involved in 300 different processes. Now, after magnesium, which everyone should have as base, that should be a foundation, is we have a quiz, or you can take a poop test at Gut Personal. So our quiz, I developed this quiz over the last year of the questions that, if they're answered in a certain way, put you into 3 different phases of gut healing. So let's say you're someone listening to this and you're like, I think I have a pretty good gut. I don't have many gut symptoms, but maybe you're on birth control. Maybe you have anxiety or depression and you have no gut symptoms. So you might be in phase 3, which is someone who doesn't need much gut support, but just a little. So you might be taking our magnesium and our go-to probiotic. Or maybe you're sitting here and you're like, I have skin issues, gut issues, I have thyroid issues, I can't poop, I'm bloated all the time. You might be in phase 1 of gut healing, so you'll need a lot of different types of supplements than someone who doesn't have gut issues. So the quiz is how we help you personalize, and it takes just a few minutes to fill out, and then you can get your personalized supplements.
Awesome. I love that. That's like so perfect. Because I think like you said, I think anyone kind of living in today's world definitely needs some sort of support. Like if you have a history of taking antibiotics and if you've been super stressed, I mean, magnesium is probably that, and like maybe omega-3s, like I would say are like the top of my rec list. Like 97% of clients that we have are recommending either like a magnesium of some kind, because it always comes up. And it's just, it really is a miracle worker. Would you say
it's called the Miracle Worker?
I love it. It's so helpful. But at the same time too, it can be quite overwhelming, because I think supplements, and we know this, like supplements, there's so many out there, and they're not regulated by the FDA, so it's so hard to trust, and then you never know, and like there's just so many choices. And so I love that whether you're in stage 1, 2, or 3, it's still personalized, and you're still not going, you might need more, but you're still not going to have to take 25 supplements that are just a waste of your time, time and money, basically. So that's so helpful. What if someone does want to do a poop test? What does that look like? Like, what is that? It sounds very messy.
It's not. It's not the most fun. So our services company is called the Gut Fix. So that's me and my team of dietitians. We do a poop test through that. So it is literally like you buy it gets shipped to your door, you complete it, and you get results of like, what is the bad bacteria in your gut? Is there yeast in your gut that's causing bloating, anxiety, joint pain? Are you breaking down food well? Is that your root cause of bloating? Because it's really important for people to understand. Let's use women. 2 women can have the exact same symptoms. Let's say they're bloating right after meals, and let's say they can't go to the bathroom. One woman can't break down food and has yeast in their gut. The other has a bad bacteria, H. pylori, and is sensitive to gluten. Same symptoms, totally different root causes. And if I lost you at explaining what was going on at the root cause, no worries. You don't need to know what's going on with other people. You need to know what's going on for you.
Yeah.
You know?
Definitely. So, okay. I love that you brought up gluten, because I definitely wanted to talk about that. I feel like when it comes to gut health, gluten and dairy are like the big things that people automatically are like, well, I just need to eliminate it. What are your thoughts on that? Or actually, not even your thoughts. What does the science say about that? I'm coming from a gut health expert.
Yeah. So the poop test that we do actually looks at an immune reaction to gluten. It doesn't look at an immune reaction to dairy. And I actually had a client this morning. I was reviewing her poop test results. We talked about gluten and dairy because she had said to me, when I go on Whole30, I feel great. And I was like, okay.
We're eliminating 30 plus bazillion things.
You're also adding in, I mean, you're not only eliminating gluten and dairy, like you said, you're eliminating a bunch of other things.
So many.
And you're not drinking and all of these things. So I was like, let's pinpoint what you think. What does your intuition say? Because with eating, and I know you do this and your team does this, like intuition is really powerful and important.
Yeah.
So she said, you know what? Dairy doesn't make me feel good. I was like, great. And you know what? Your test results show that you don't have a sensitivity to gluten. So why are you eliminating it if you don't have a sensitivity?
Interesting.
You know? So the test will tell us more about gluten. It won't tell us about other things, but there is a marker that looks at your immune system. So things that would lower your immune system would be, you know, chronic stress or a period of big stress, long-term food sensitivities, antibiotics. Those are the biggies. So if gluten doesn't look like it's affecting your immune system, because there is that level on the test, I start to think about other things. For me, eggs were causing a big sensitivity. And so my gut wasn't able to heal. I think that's the biggest thing too, is that food sensitivities don't just affect our symptoms. Like for me, like eggs made me nauseous. I had no idea. But it's not just that they give us symptoms. It's that they are like literally, think of like a punching bag. And the punching bag being your immune system, and like literally that food being the fighter. I don't know, the puncher. It's like just killing your immune system constantly. It's not just if we have food sensitivities, they give us symptoms. It's like that systematically affects our body.
Totally. I'm actually really glad you brought that up, because I feel like a lot of people will go to like their doctor and get a food sensitivity test, and then they're like told that they're not allowed to have like a slip, like a bazillion. And I'm just like, wait a minute, like, no, wait, like, so can you elaborate on why those are really not that credible?
Yeah.
And how that's different from a stool test?
Totally different. So those are looking at what your immune system is reacting to in the moment. And so if this is you, if this has happened, what it might be telling you is that you need to be eating more of a variety of foods. Maybe eggs come up because you eat them twice a day, every day. Like you shouldn't be doing the same exact foods all the time, because you'll create a sensitivity to them. If you have poor gut health, which many of us do without even knowing. So more variety. And then what I recommend is you need gut healing. So if you're not going to do a stool test, and you've been told this, because this is very common, from Gut Personal, the healer and the soother combined over 3 months will help your gut heal to food sensitivities.
Awesome. All right. So let's talk more about the supplement line. Let's Gut Personal. Isn't that your tagline? I did it. Let's Gut Personal. So let's talk about what supplements you offer. I know you have like liquid forms and pill forms, which is, I didn't know this until I coached more and more people over the years, that there are a lot of adults that just don't swallow pills. I did not know this. Like so many. I'm like, wow, okay. So we need to get creative.
Yes. I mean, I am someone who like very much, because I'm a practitioner, like a dietitian, I do take a lot of supplements because I am so intentional about feeling well. I think that's an important thing. I'm going to use myself as an example. I don't take a bunch of supplements because I don't eat well. I think 100% of people need supplements. I'm going to say that very boldly. It depends on the supplements you need. And that's why we created the quiz for Gut Personals, figuring out what you need. So myself, like at night, I take the Miracle Worker in powder form because I take a handful of other stuff. So if I have some stuff that's in a yummy powder, I can take my other supplements with them. So it's like, for one thing, we have a lot of powders at Gut Personal. So yeah, I think I forget what your initial question was, but you're just using myself as an example.
Yeah, no, I'm just saying like what different supplements you have. Like, so you have the magnesium.
Yeah.
What are like the most ones that you have?
Yeah, so we have 2 different probiotics, and we're going to be launching a third in January, which is the newest technology. Will be launched in January, so that'll be awesome. It depends on what stage of gut healing, what type of probiotic you need. For example, if your gut is a mess, we have the booster, which is Saccharomyces boulardii. Or if you're on antibiotics or you've been on antibiotics recently, the booster is the probiotic for you. If you have pretty good gut health, you need some tweaks, we have the go-to probiotic, which is what I sent for you. You're like, yeah, my gut's doing good.
I'm so upset because I feel like, did you send it? Because I think I have a package in the package room.
No, it didn't get sent.
Okay, good. I'm like, wait a minute. That would have been awesome for me to have it.
I know. You're like, well, at the time of this recording, it was not sent.
Okay.
But you will have it when this podcast comes out, which is really exciting. So those are the 2 different probiotics. And then the third probiotic will kind of be a mix of both with immune support. So have you ever heard of like colostrum being used? Mm-hmm. Like maybe if you're listening right now, colostrum is literally like what's in breast milk that really helps the baby's gut in the beginning of their life. Mm-hmm. So what we've used in natural medicine and functional medicine for years is colostrum. The problem with colostrum, from like a cow, the problem with colostrum is that some people are sensitive to dairy.
Right.
So what they came out with is immune support that's dairy-free. And so that's our healer. If you have a lot of gut issues or if you have food sensitivities or autoimmune conditions, the research for this product, the healer, is done on really supporting people's gut with improving their autoimmune symptoms. I love it. For me, it really helped my body heal with my egg sensitivity. So I still take it 2 scoops at night in my miracle worker, my magnesium. So I just it's a 2-for-1 deal. It's like my nighttime routine.
Yeah.
And then if people are having like flares of their gut health or they feel bloated or they're having stomach aches, the 1-2 punch that I like is the Soother, which is glutamine and really soothing things for the gut. It's a powder. It's chocolate or vanilla. It's so good with the healer in it. So it's like if you're having like acute gut issues or you're just ready to feel better and you're not sure where to start, the healer with the Soother is like a really healing nighttime routine for people.
That's awesome. So now from my understanding that when you take the quiz and then you kind of have your individualized supplements, you also have the ability, am I wrong, to like ask questions or
sure.
You get support throughout. Could you explain a little bit more about that?
Yeah, so we have registered dietitians on our team. So one way we're really creating trust with you is through having experts on our team. We're not a supplement company. We are an education company that has supplements.
Right.
So that's first and foremost what we do. So myself and my dietitian, Jillian, are really the experts spearheading this company. We'll be doing monthly webinars. We'll have a community where you can ask questions. So it'll be really good.
Yay! Awesome. And Bridgitte gave me a special link to share with you guys. So if you are interested in getting any of these products, at least start with the magnesium for sure, but take that quiz. And I'm going to put the link in the show notes that she gave it to me. So you guys get a discount on is it their first order or like if they like ongoing? How does that work?
They can always use your code.
Awesome. Oh, that's so nice.
They could use your code. They'll get a discount. We're really big on supporting people. You know what I mean? So, yeah.
Yay. Awesome. It's so exciting. Is there anything else that you want to kind of share with the listeners? Anything we didn't get to talk about today that you think that they would benefit from hearing?
Yeah. So it's not just we kind of alluded to this, but how do you know if you have gut issues? I think the biggest is that if you have gut symptoms, but also skin issues like eczema, acne, psoriasis, rashes, hives. Those are all signs you have gut issues going on. Anxiety, depression. For that, you definitely should be on a probiotic and magnesium. And then autoimmune issues. Think about this too. What's been going on in the last year is all immune related, right? Why are we having so many issues with people's immune systems? Their gut is a mess. 70% of our immune system is in the gut.
Right.
So if we want to boost our immune system, we need to be focused on the gut.
Yeah.
1,000%.
So, okay, that's amazing. Just to recap, you guys, we started from talking about just eating balanced meals. Okay. So making sure you're eating balanced meals, making sure if you notice a food sensitivity that's like direct, like it's okay to like let it go for a little bit as you work on supplementing to heal your gut. And then maybe in the future, you can talk about re-implementing it. But if you need help with that, you got Bridgitte and her team at Gut Personal, where I'm going to put all of the links in the show notes, including your discount to get and try one or all, whatever supplements you need, for a nice discount there. So excited. Bridgitte, thank you so much for being here. How can people get in touch with you? Contact you, ask questions, all the things.
Yeah. So our Instagram for Gut Personal is just gut.personal. And, you can talk to our team there if you want to connect with me directly. My Instagram is Well by Bridgitte. I'm the only person in my DMs, so you can DM me directly. I would love if this resonated with you, if you had a takeaway or you're ready to take action with your gut health. I would love to hear it. I'd love to support you. Connection is one of my North Stars. So I just love to connect with you too, and know that I really appreciate and I'm so grateful not only for you having me on, Tony, but for your listeners and understanding that when we're launching this company in November, when the time this comes out, we will have been only a month old, and your support for a small women founded, funded, and operated company means the world to us.
Yes. Yeah. You only get women investors, right?
Yep. Only women investors.
So women own, support small businesses, support women-owned businesses, support women investors. This girl's a powerhouse, so we will wait and see where this girl is. She's already just done she's made incredible leaps and bounds, and she's only entered entrepreneurship a year or so ago?
A year.
Yeah, she's freaking crushing it. She understood the assignment. Let's just say that. So follow Bridgitte for anything other than motivation, but then you also might heal your gut at the same time. So
intertwined.
Yeah, it's amazing. It's amazing. Thank you so much for being here, guys. Like Bridgitte said, if you like this episode, take a screenshot of it, share it, tag us on your story, tag us, let us know what resonated with you, what you took away. Definitely reach out to Bridgitte if you have any questions. Like you guys know, nutrition should be individualized. At the same time, there are some very foundational things and some things that you might not be doing that Bridgitte could definitely still point you in the right direction, but they also have teams where you can get one-to-one coaching as well. So make sure you reach out if you need it. Thank you for being here. If you're new to the podcast, definitely hit that subscribe button, write a review. The more reviews we have, the more subscribers we have, the more people find the podcast, the more people are getting messages like this, and the more happier and healthier they will be. So you'll be doing me such a big solid by doing that. So anyways, thanks so much for listening. As always, I'm Tony Marinici, your registered dietitian, helping you get healthy one bite at a time.